We all know that person, the one who walks into a room and somehow, without saying a word, commands respect. The colleague whose suggestions are always taken seriously. The friend whose advice people actually follow. What separates these individuals from everyone else? It's not their title. It's not their wealth. And contrary to what many believe, it's not some magical charisma they were born with. The truth about gaining respect and influence is both simpler and more difficult than most people realize. It's not about learning manipulation tactics or power plays. True respect, the kind that lasts, comes from habits that build your character from the inside out. The ancient Stoics understood this profoundly. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This wasn't just philosophical musing, it was practical advice about how respect must be earned through consistent action. Today, I'll share 4 vital habits that the Stoics recognized as essential for building genuine respect and influence. These aren't quick fixes or social hacks. They're sustained practices that transform who you are, and as a result, how others respond to you. And the 4th habit, which most people completely overlook, might be the most powerful of all. Habit 1. Embrace uncomfortable truths. Have you ever noticed how some people seem almost allergic to reality? They avoid difficult conversations, they dance around problems, and they tell people what they want to hear rather than what they need to hear. These individuals might be temporarily liked, but they're rarely respected. The first vital habit for gaining respect is embracing uncomfortable truths, both with yourself and with others. This requires 2 specific practices: rigorous self-honesty and measured truth-telling. Let's start with self-honesty. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who began life as a slave, taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What he meant was that real growth requires acknowledging your own limitations, something most people desperately avoid. Consider how you respond when you make a mistake. Do you immediately look for someone or something to blame? Do you create elaborate explanations for why it wasn't really your fault? This defensive posturing might protect your ego in the moment, but it undermines your credibility over time. Those who command genuine respect practice rigorous self-honesty. They say, "I was wrong," without qualification. They ask for feedback, and when they receive it, they listen intently rather than preparing their rebuttal. They speak openly about their struggles and limitations. This self-honesty creates a foundation for the second practice: measured truth-telling with others. Notice I said measured truth-telling. This isn't about brutal honesty that disregards others' feelings. It's about having the courage to address reality, even when it's uncomfortable, but doing so with tact and care. Think about someone you deeply respect. When they need to tell you something difficult, they likely do it directly but compassionately. They don't sugarcoat reality, but they also don't use truth as a weapon. In practice, this might mean having the difficult conversation with a team member whose performance is slipping instead of hoping the problem resolves itself. It might mean telling a friend when their behavior is self-destructive rather than silently watching them struggle. People are drawn to those who deal in truth. Even when the truth is initially unwelcome, we ultimately respect those who have the courage to speak it with the right intention. Seneca wrote in his letters, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This exchange of honest feedback, delivered with good intention, builds mutual respect that forms the foundation of true influence. Habit 2. Master your reactions. The second vital habit for gaining respect and influence is mastering your reactions, particularly during challenging situations. Think about how quickly you form judgments about others based on how they respond under pressure. The colleague who lashes out when criticized, the friend who crumbles at the first sign of adversity, the manager who becomes defensive when questioned. Now think about those rare individuals who maintain their composure regardless of what's happening around them. They respond to crises with calm deliberation. They receive criticism thoughtfully. They face opposition without becoming hostile or defensive. Which group commands more respect? This capacity to control your reactions isn't about suppressing emotions or maintaining a stoic with a small s facade. It's about creating a space between stimulus and response. What modern psychologists call emotional regulation. But what the Stoics understood centuries ago, Marcus Aurelius advised himself, when jarred unavoidably by circumstances, revert at once to yourself and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. You'll have a better grasp of harmony if you keep going back to it. In practice, mastering your reactions involves three key components. First, recognizing your emotional triggers. We all have situations that consistently provoke strong emotions, certain criticisms that cut deeper, specific challenges that spark anxiety, particular people who just know how to get under our skin. Developing self-awareness around these triggers is the essential first step. Second, creating a pause between feeling and action. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, make it your practice to say to every harsh appearance, you are just an appearance and not at all what you appear to be. This practice of questioning your initial impressions creates vital space between what you feel and what you do. Third, choosing responses aligned with your values rather than reactions driven by emotions. This doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means not being governed by them. I once observed a respected executive respond to a junior employee who publicly questioned his strategy during an all-hands meeting. Rather than becoming defensive or dismissive, he paused, thanked the employee for the thought-provoking question, and then carefully addressed the concern with evidence and reasoning. Afterward, he sought out the employee to continue the conversation privately. That moment did more for his reputation than any successful project or brilliant presentation could have. It demonstrated a mastery of reactions that signals true leadership. The ability to maintain composure, especially when others are losing theirs, creates a gravitational pull. People naturally turn to and trust those who can remain steady amidst chaos. As Seneca advised, the first thing which philosophy undertakes to give is fellow feeling with all men. In other words, sympathy and sociability. This capacity for measured, thoughtful responses, even in difficult interactions, is the embodiment of that philosophical goal. Habit 3. Build genuine competence. The third vital habit for gaining respect and influence is building genuine competence. A quality the Stoics valued highly but approached in a uniquely balanced way. In our culture of expertism and credential worship, this might seem obvious. Of course, respected people are competent. But there's a critical distinction between the appearance of competence, which many people chase, and genuine competence, which has depth and substance. Think about the difference between someone who uses sophisticated language to mask shallow understanding versus someone who can explain complex ideas in simple terms because they truly understand the fundamentals, or the difference between the person who proclaims their expertise versus the person who quietly demonstrates it through consistent results. True competence isn't about appearing smart or capable. It's about actually being those things. And the pursuit of genuine competence requires 3 specific practices. First, develop depth in areas that matter. The Stoics were not merely philosophers. They were active participants in society who understood the importance of practical knowledge. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just a theorist of leadership. He led armies and governed an empire. Seneca didn't just write about wealth. He managed vast financial resources. Choose domains that align with your values and life purpose, then develop genuine depth. This often means going beyond surface-level understanding to master fundamentals that others skip in their hurry to appear expert. Second, embrace the discomfort of being a beginner. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. This requires the humility to say, I don't know, and the courage to learn publicly. Many people avoid developing new competencies because they fear looking foolish while learning. But those we respect most are often those who continuously expand their capabilities, even when that means occasional awkwardness or failure. Third, practice what the Stoics called catalepsis, comprehensive understanding that comes from viewing things from multiple perspectives. This means developing the capacity to understand not just what works, but why it works, and being able to adapt that knowledge to new contexts. I once worked with a business leader who had risen from entry-level positions. What earned him extraordinary respect wasn't just his technical knowledge. It was his ability to synthesize perspectives from engineering, marketing, and finance into integrated solutions. He could speak meaningfully with specialists in each domain because he had developed genuine competence across boundaries. The pursuit of competence should be motivated by internal standards, not external validation. As Epictetus advised, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things, for it is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. This intrinsically motivated pursuit of excellence naturally commands respect, especially in a world where many people are more concerned with appearing competent than with doing the work to become truly capable. Habit 4. Practice uncelebrated generosity. We've arrived at the fourth vital habit for gaining respect and influence, the one most people completely overlook, yet which might be the most powerful of all: practicing uncelebrated generosity. This isn't about public philanthropy or visible acts of charity. It's about consistently giving value to others without expectation of recognition or return. It's generosity practiced not for the social credit it might earn, but for its own sake. The Stoics understood that true virtue, including generosity, was its own reward. Seneca wrote, "The reward for all the virtues lies in the virtues themselves, for they are not practiced with a view to reward. The price of a virtuous act is to have done it." This uncelebrated generosity takes three primary forms. First, giving your full attention. In a world of perpetual distraction, one of the rarest and most valuable gifts you can offer another person is your undivided attention. This means listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but truly seeking to understand. It means being present rather than mentally rehearsing your response or checking your notifications. I once observed a respected leader in conversation with the newest member of his organization. Despite significant responsibilities and demands on his time, he gave this junior colleague his complete focus, listening intently, asking thoughtful questions, and showing genuine interest in their ideas. That single conversation created a foundation of respect that formal authority could never have established. Second, sharing knowledge and opportunities without concern for credit. This means mentoring others, making introductions that create opportunities, and freely sharing insights that might benefit someone else's work, all without calculating what you might receive in return. The most respected individuals I've encountered consistently practice this form of generosity. They recommend others for opportunities they could have taken themselves. They connect people who might benefit from knowing each other. They share their knowledge openly rather than hoarding it for competitive advantage. Third, extending the benefit of the doubt and offering forgiveness without being asked. The Stoics recognized human fallibility and encouraged compassion for others' mistakes. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from bad." This perspective allows for a rare form of generosity: the willingness to assume good intentions, to forgive missteps, and to allow others the space to learn and grow without judgment. What makes uncelebrated generosity so powerful is precisely that it isn't transactional. When people sense that your generosity comes without strings attached, that you're not giving merely to get, it creates a depth of respect that calculated actions never could. As Seneca observed, "He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment on his debt." Uncelebrated generosity creates a positive debt that others naturally want to repay, not out of obligation, but out of genuine appreciation. Closing. These four habits, embracing uncomfortable truths, mastering your reactions, building genuine competence, and practicing uncelebrated generosity, form the foundation of lasting respect and influence. What unites them is that they focus on who you are, rather than techniques you employ. They're about character development, not manipulation tactics, and they work regardless of your position, background, or natural temperament. The Stoics understood that respect cannot be demanded or engineered. It can only be earned through consistent action aligned with virtuous principles. As Epictetus taught, Make it your study then to confront every harsh impression with the words, "You are but an impression, and not at all what you seem to be." This applies equally to our desire for respect and influence. We often think we need to appear a certain way to others, when what truly matters is who we are and how we act. Start with small steps in each area. Practice rigorous self-honesty about one area where you've been avoiding an uncomfortable truth. Create a deliberate pause before responding in situations that typically trigger reactive emotions. Identify one domain where you can develop deeper competence aligned with your values. Look for an opportunity to be generous without any possibility of recognition. These practices will not transform your influence overnight, but over time, they create something far more valuable than superficial techniques ever could, the kind of earned respect that forms the foundation of lasting influence. I'm curious, which of these habits resonates most with you? Or is there another habit you found essential for building genuine respect? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found value in this exploration of Stoic principles applied to modern life, consider subscribing to continue our journey together. Until next time, remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one.